Good afternoon. You reach a point in your career where you're given opportunities based on past performance, and like I said, Penn State for me growing up in inner city Philly was the epitome of college football. When I was a kid, and I was never talented enough to make it to Penn State as a player, but given the opportunity to do it now as a coach, it's really where I want to be to continue my career and bring any expertise that I can, to the organization. I think if the people who watch it and the people who report on it, which I'm not trying to butter you guys up, but I mean the media and everyone nowadays has become so much more knowledgeable, and I appreciate that. I would think the first thing you're going to see is that we're going to have answers. That's the biggest thing to me, is to make sure that we have answers for the players to be able to succeed, to put them in the right positions, right? I mean, we've all watched football, and you can see where there's a gaping hole or a busted coverage, and I never blame the players for that. I always take responsibility. If something happens negatively, the players know that in the game that's my responsibility. So I think, anybody who watches it, you're just going to see that guys are in the right places. They're in the right places, and they're not being exposed, to the opponent offensive coordinator or the opponent quarterback. That there's enough disguise built into the defense so that our opponent doesn't know exactly what we're in. I think that's a big deal. I think that gives our players the best chance to succeed. Incredibly supportive, incredibly welcoming. I've really felt that in just my short time here. That very welcoming.
Recording in progress.
Not a cliche, but you feel the family, you feel we are Penn State, in that it means something to everybody, and they just want to win, and they want to win at the highest level, and they're committed to doing whatever it takes, and they've just been really, really welcoming. It's been an easy transition. You got to be tough, if you're from Philly, you got to be tough, and you have a thick skin, and you're willing to take coaching, hard coaching. That, like growing up, the guys that I had as coaches, they were all, cops, firemen, maintenance men, and they were hard on you. They were challenging to you. They preached discipline and hard-nosed football, and you have to be. I think growing up in Philly and under those guys, you have to be willing to accept criticism and respond with toughness. Even with the players, I'm always all for a guy that's gonna challenge, the coaching. Like, hey, I want to know why we're doing this, and what's the purpose, and kind of that back and forth that you get growing up there, where you're willing to speak your mind, and you accept it when you make a mistake, but you challenge it if you have a different opinion, and I think you learn not to take things personally. That's don't take it personally. my coaches, teachers growing up, they're trying to make you better, and I coach that way. Like, you know, we're in this for you. I knew that they were in it for me. Like, you knew that those guys loved you, and they would love you. There was a mix of that, you know, like tough love, and you know, that's what I got growing up there. But, you know, I think coming from Coach Franklin, and it wasn't really a pitch, but it was something we could openly discuss, is that he has built a culture here that has really emphasized defense. You know, I think he's been an offensive guy, so maybe some people look at him like that, but when you look back at his history, he didn't really have to sell it, but we talked about it because they've had really good defense here, right? They've been through some different coordinators, but they have always had good defense. So that goes into how you structure your practice plan, how you structure your offense in terms of the tempo of the offense, or you know, I've been around situations where all the offense has done is tried to score as fast as they could, and you know, didn't worry about going 3 and out in 30 seconds, you know, and places that can put a defense at a disadvantage. Well, he hasn't structured it like that here. You know, he has made it conducive to be successful on defense, and you can talk about that, but the proof is in the numbers. You know, I mean, like I said, they've had some various coordinators here recently, and guess what? The defense has still always been pretty good. No, I have one aspiration. You know, I'm at that point in my career where you focus solely on the job at hand, and my aspiration is to help Penn State win the national championship and be the #1 defense in the country, and that's really all I'm focused on. And that's not just talk. That's the truth. I don't have any aspirations beyond that. I've gone back and forth, but most recently I'd say I spend most of my time in the press box, and you know, that allows me to get the best vision on the action, and with the iPads now and the communication directly to the players, you know, in the helmet, I can still be very connected, and you know, there's a lot more time to think up there. You know, I've worked hard, I guess, on, you know, being emotional and challenging in practice, and you know, coaching with an edge in practice, but in the game, that's not my job. You know, and the best place to be in order to think and remain calm and try to stay a couple plays ahead and a series ahead is in the press box. That's just what I found for myself, is that, you know, if there's a camera up there on me, hopefully you're not going to see me reacting to a bad play, or even if we get a great play. You know, I really try to stay centered, and you know, my job is to not cheer or react or yell. No one's going to hear me up there anyway, right? So it's like my job is to think and be composed. And I just found the press box is the best place to do that. I guess I learned through that whole process that I really need to evaluate first who the players are here and what they do well. And it's not about what I know, it's about what works best for Penn State. So it could be, I guess that would be my answer. And kind of like I always said when I was there, it's always in my head, you know, and I always have that as an answer, but we got to figure out if it fits first here.
Jim, would you mind just telling us the traits that go into that position?
Sure, that's a guy who can mix it up, you know, both physically but mentally too. Like a guy who I can talk to one-on-one, and I can say, okay, if you see this, do that. You know, if they line up like this, you go over here. You know, it's like it's that guy who is really like an eraser, who I can put in different places based on the game plan. I think it's a great package, particularly if you're undersized, or like I always tell high school coaches, I would run, because you can go and find somebody in the hallway who's not a DB, he's not a linebacker, he's not a D lineman, but he's just a hell of a football player. It's for those kind of guys who you don't know exactly where they don't fit the standard of any particular position, but they're just guys who are great football players. We all have been around those kind of guys, and you can direct them to do what you want. So it's fun, but we have to see if it fits best here. But we're going to go at the pace of the players, right? I mean, always work with the assistants closely on that. Like, hey, I want A to Z, and I want it in by the time spring ball starts. That's not going to happen, And then, the assistants, we had that talk today. Hey, you tell me if I start to put in too much, that we need to dial back. So you need to get A right, then you go to B, then you need to go A, B, then you go to C, then you go A, B, C. It's just so we got to go at the pace of the players, not at my pace, because I'm not the one making the plays out there. Yeah, Andy's been great. I mean, I've always had great respect for him, and he and I are talking already and exchanging ideas, and we'll continue that. The best way to make our team better. And you feel that here at Penn State, that we are a team. So yeah, we're talking, and we'll talk even more. Jimmy's and Joe's versus X's and O's. I can tell you're an old timer. I haven't heard that one in a while, but I mean that's what people say, right? And to me, it's just a constant balance. I don't ever believe that you can just line guys up and be simple and just say, well, we're just gonna out-athlete you. I think that doesn't give your players the best chance for success, but it is a balance, right? It is a balance with how can I do enough that keeps the opponent off balance while also not hindering the athletic ability of the guys to play fast and make plays. So those are the things that keep me up at night. It's like how much can I do before I lock a guy up into thinking too much, right? If they're thinking too much, then I haven't done a good job. But we'll just take it step by step. Coach Paterno's brother, I think it was, right? He used to do those Sunday morning programs, and due to time constraints, we moved to further action. But I had these coaches, who loved Penn State, and they would come right from work. So what would they do? They'd roll their pants up, The way Coach Paterno, they'd roll their pants up and come right from work. So, I knew the term linebacker U because of them. There wasn't so it was always more of just a dream than it was anything that I could have a real relationship with. I see it as so close, right? I think I can help. I think I can be of service. These things, once you get past, maybe being young and thinking you're going to be the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, as you move forward in your career, you really start thinking about how can I be of service? Where can I add to a great team and be a part of a great team? And this is the place, because everything here is so close to winning it all And I'm hopeful that, I can help get it there.